And the first meeting of the Nigerian Governors Forum was held on Wednesday evening at the Secretariat in Abuja, and security in the nation might have topped discussions there.
Now, the issue has been a major concern for governors, especially with the controversy surrounding the establishment of Operation Amotekun in the southwest. Other issues on the agenda ranges from deductions for budget support facility and ways of enhancing revenue generation through radio and television license fees collection. Only 10 governors and 5 deputy governors attended the meeting.
As the debate rages over the legality or otherwise of Amotekun, the security outfit created by governors of the states that make up the Southwest, the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has asked for all parties, including the Attorney General of the Federation, to inch towards dialogue and private discussions that will resolve the issue.
The national leader released a statement through his media office where he said, quote, "The foundation of the country has not been put at risk with the creation of Amotekun in a bid to confront insecurity across the states that make up southwestern Nigeria." Adewale Tinubu, who is a former governor of Lagos State, also warned that the fabric of the country could be turned by what he says is the dangerous rhetoric of those who should know better. This is his first intervention in the controversy surrounding Amotekun, and in his words, quote, "Those claiming that this limited inoffensive addition to security threatens the Republic have taken upon themselves upon a madcap excursion."
All right, and he continues by saying that, quote, "Those claiming that the federal government seeks to terribly suppress the Southwest have also lost their compass." The statement of caution is critical of the two extreme positions which pose the greatest threat to peace, and has urged objectivity in the thought process and discussions regarding Amotekun. Well, Public Affairs Analyst, Comrade Ayodele Adewale, is here with us to talk more on this issue. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Now, a lot of people were waiting to get a statement from the elder statesman, and when the statement finally came out yesterday, there were loads of reactions, some critical of his statement. But we want to get your perspective of what you make of his statement.
Well, Asuwaju has spoken out of experience. Remember that he was governor from 1999 up to 2007, and he also created a lot of structures, particularly that the federal government went against it and they went to court. So you can't compare his experience to whatever anybody might say. And as an elder statesman, he would not approach the issue as some people would want him to. But again, it's for us to get to the end of the matter and each side being carried along. And that is why he made a recourse to the Constitution. And of course, talking about the security of the people themselves, that the people have the right to secure themselves without infringing on the Constitution. And talking about the Constitution too, we've had several instances where we've spoken about having state police, community police, and all of these structures. But I think the issue that created a little bit of misunderstanding is on the regional conception, the regional conception. And I think that is why he said that people should sit together and try to iron out these hiccups so that we can move on.
Okay, so looking at his statement now, like Veronica said, now there are several reactions, but how will this resonate amongst those who were critical of Operation Amotekun?
Well, I would not want to look at that. I would want to look at a situation where Amotekun would see the light of today and, of course, execute the function in which it was created for, and that is to protect life and property, and, of course, work with all the security agencies that we have in Nigeria without any infringement on the Nigerian Constitution, as the case is now.
But he has some concerns saying that the regional approach may undermine efficiency. Do you share some view?
In a way, yes. We must also appreciate that each of these states have their capacity and they have their territorial differences. But in order to pull the strength together, just as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have done in the recent past with regards to Boko Haram, remember that all the countries that surround Nigeria, He actually called them to a summit, and I think a summit was held either in the Republic of Benin or thereabout some time ago, so that they can trap the movement of these insurgents. I think flowing from that might have been the thinking of the Southwest governors, that if you pursue criminals, take for instance Lagos, you understand, they won't be able to move out of that contraption and all of that. That can be their thinking, and I think that should be their thinking.
Okay, so looking at Amotekun now, Asiwaju has thrown his weight behind it. How will this contribute to the efforts by security operatives in curbing crime in the Southwest?
Well, it will contribute positively. Remember that in Lagos State, Asiwaju did create the Neighborhood Watch. And the Neighborhood Watch had helped the security agencies a lot in gathering of information. And in tackling crime, you need a lot of intelligence gathering. And if you sync that also to the JTF, civilian JTF in Borno State, the military wouldn't have been able to walk that far if they don't have men that understand the terrain and understand the nomenclature of their area. So in that like, I think Asiwaju's thinking is in the right direction.
Now, he is also concerned about the controversies that has trailed this in terms of looking at the aspect of the politics coming to play, and also the religious aspect and ethnicity that also came out to play, and that could tear the fabric of the nation. I wonder what you make of the interpretations that have begun to come out of this, the creation of this outfit. What it say of our mindset towards tackling issues of insecurity?
First and foremost, Amotekun has no religious connotation.
Absolutely, but the reactions that they get.
Well, whoever that have thrown up that reaction must have done that for self-reason in order to create the crisis within the political sphere of APC. But you see, like I told you, Asiwaju is very experienced, and his experience will come to bear.
Absolutely.
From every statement of every individual, he will look first at this individual, where is this individual coming from, and what are their aims. But let us narrow it to the Nigerian populace. Do we need structures that can help the existing structure in gathering information? Do we need structures that understand the terrain, especially our forest terrain? When you talk about kidnapping, I've never had in large quantum that the kidnappers have kept people in the metropolis. They will always take them to the forest area and to obscure areas. And we have people who are marooned in these areas, and them getting timely information will help our various security agencies.
But another aspect is the aspect of the fact that these persons who are part of Amotekun are not as armed as the persons they would be, because they have the ability to make arrest and then hand over to the police. But then they are not as armed as the kidnappers and perhaps the herders, whoever they may be, the bandits. And some have come out to say that this is putting them in the face of perhaps danger.
My little knowledge of intelligence and things like you said is that before you consider the person that bears the arm, you must also look at the person that has the courage in order to confront the bearers of the arm. Okay. Now, for he who has the arm, one, you must have the courage to shoot the gun. Secondly, to aim at target. Now, if I have an intelligence or the capacity to outwit you in terms of knowing your surrounding, one, you are going to waste the bullet.
Really?
And if I know the amount of bullet that you carry in your gun, definitely I'm going to come after you. These are knowledge that we use during the military era, when the military soldiers will come out, shoot, throw tear gas and all of that. Of course, we know our numbers. We know our environment.
But these ones are not trained.
They are not trained. They're not trained, but you are more trained about your environment. Take, for instance, an armed robber comes into your house, God forbid, you understand, through a particular area. Of course, you know where to hide yourself. You know how to get out from that situation.
Right.
And if need be, you know how to corner that person if you have the courage to do so.
Right.
And with a mere glass cup, you can disarm that armed robber. It's for you to have the courage and, of course, know the geography of your area.
terrain.
But mind you, they are also going to be armed with communication gadgets.
All right.
You understand? So to give timely information to the security operative that have the arm.
All right, Comrade Ayodele Adewale, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
Public Affairs Analyst Ayodele Adewale is here with us in the studio to talk more on this. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, he has called for a dialogue that's talking about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu between the AGF and even the state governors. How do you think this dialogue, or what should be at the front burner of this dialogue if it's to hold?
Well, the major issue should be the structure of Amotekun and how it's going to operate itself, and that should be the bulk of discussion. There is no doubt that the federal government is not happy about agencies of government and structure of government coming together to help themselves so as to help the people of the country. If not so, then the federal government would have frowned at various state governors to fund police needs, as the case may be. So it's just helping them to reduce the amount of burden on their shoulders. And let's wait to see the outcome of that meeting when it takes place.
Okay, so looking at the Operation Amotekun now, do you, there's been different times they've had this call for state police.
Yes.
Now, do you see this metamorphosing into a situation where we have a regional force handling the Southwest?
Well, we should have a national force. We should not be looking at just the regional issues as the case is. There have been a call for state police, and is a step in the right direction. And that is why I said the structure of Amotekun, or the structure of any community policing formation that is still in embryo, should be looked at and should be worked together with the federal government, and it must be in concurrent with our provision in our constitution.
He talked about how people have mishandled the matter, and that it shows how far we have to go at perfecting our democracy. Do you think that this mishandling stemmed from perhaps communication, proper explanation of what the outfit was all about to the people?
It's beyond communication, it's a question of law. No matter how beautiful your idea is, if there's a law in place and it's not incoherent with the law, then you are going to be fouling the system. Even if the law is not contemporary, the first thing you have to do is amend the law in order to accommodate whatever thinking or structures that you're about to put in place, because we are governed by law. So we must not put our thinking beyond the provisions of law that we have. And that, I think, is what Asiwaju is talking about, so making sure that everybody works together.
This is a test of a federal system of government.
Of course, it's a test. It's a test. I mean, human beings, our nature is dynamic. There's nothing that is static. No matter how we move, we might decide to move in a straight line direction. And as we move along, there's a need for us to also tilt a bit and move in the other direction. And that calls for dialogue in order to review our pattern of movement.
Okay, so in all of this now, you are in strong support of Operation Amotekun, and you believe it is the right thing for the Southwest to do in tackling insecurity?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I'm in support of any structure that will provide adequate security for our people, considering the terrain.
Is this adequate enough?
What is adequate enough?
The security structure we have now with Amotekun coming up, is it adequate for the Southwest?
Well, we first of all must look at the numbers.
Okay.
You understand? Look at the numbers of people that we have in our national security structure. Do we have a number to cope with over 200 million people or near 200 million people? That is one. Do we have the technology to deploy in order to take care of these people? As much as I don't agree with the pattern of the U.S. Taking out the man in Iran, but I do agree with the technology that they used. You understand? I mean, if you could use such technology to reduce human fatality, then it's very, very important. And the federal government must be looking in that direction to apply technology in curbing insecurity in this country. And this structure also is going to provide jobs, mind you. Okay. We are talking about job creation. By the time Amotekun comes on
there are
board,
different reactions in that aspect, but then we have to leave it here now, Comrade Ayodele Adewale. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Public Affairs Analyst Ayodele Adewale is here with us to discuss this morning. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, in his statement, Amotekun not a threat to national security and is advocating dialogue amongst the parties that are opposed to the creation of Amotekun. Now, how will this envision or engender national cohesion such that we all see this as a goal towards ensuring insecurity?
Well, you've answered it. It's a goal towards ensuring security, and if security is ensured, then the cohesion will be there, and as the case is. But like you said, it is no threat to national security at all. What can threaten our national security is when we have a crisis that is beyond the control of states and of the people in question.
Now, one issue that has come up with regards to Amotekun is the issue of remuneration and welfare. As much as this is creating jobs, there are concerns that the sustainability of the welfare, like we have seen with regards to the police force, where because of the state of the welfare, most of them resort to perhaps taking monies from people on the roads. And there are concerns that these persons, if the welfare is not sustained, might resort to something that we're trying to avoid in the society.
I believe the governors would have looked into that, and they would have agreed that a percentage be embedded in their budget provision for the year. And they can also tailor alongside...
Be embedded in the budget when this is not yet backed by even laws in the state?
Well, there are sundry matters in the budget that can take care of that. There are sundry matters in the budget that can take care of that. And talking about the structure, remember I told you earlier that these are things they are going to discuss with the Attorney General of the Federation in terms of structure and all whatnot. But I should also think that they are also going to borrow from the Lagos State Security Trust Fund system by involving corporate bodies within their various states, and of course philanthropists within their various states to also fund this structure. Either you like it or not, we need more people to secure our environment. We don't have enough men within our various security organizations.
All right, thank you very much, Ayodele Adewale, for talking to us on this.
Thank you for having me.